So yesterday we finally had the big February Nintendo Direct, and big it was. Like, there's a ton of stuff that I went over in my video. If you missed that video, make sure you guys go check it out. I've got a ton of stuff to review and make follow-up videos on as well. So I'm a very happy boy. I'm still trying to do a Hogwarts Legacy video as well, trying to chip away at that game. That game is absolutely massive though. But something happened amidst all the hype and hoopla yesterday that went completely under the radar until people started to question what was going on with this. The unthinkable has happened for the Nintendo Switch. $70 games. And it's a game that you saw, it's a game that you've known about for years, is now, for some reason, going to be $70. So let's talk about this situation because it's been completely flying under the radar. I have not seen many Nintendo people talking about this on YouTube, and I don't consider myself to just be a Nintendo YouTuber, and I know people pigeonhole me as that. I do talk a lot about Nintendo stuff, but the difference between me and other Nintendo YouTubers is a lot of them don't criticize or scrutinize or question anything that Nintendo does, whereas I will always do that, no matter what company it is. I don't really care. A couple days ago, actually one day before the Nintendo Direct, listings for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom started disappearing from all major websites. Best Buy, Amazon, GameStop, they all started to take down their pre-orders for this game, and everyone was wondering, what's going on here? You know, what seems to be happening with this? There were murmurs that there was going to be a price change to the game, but a lot of people just didn't believe that. You know, this is Nintendo for what we're talking about here. We're on the same console generation. Why would we all of a sudden go to $70 for a game? I'm sure it's a pricing error. That's what I kept seeing on Twitter. It's a pricing error. It's a pricing error. It was not a pricing error. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is indeed going to be a $70 game, and I don't understand why. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm against this. You know, anyone can give a value to anything. I just think the timing of everything is very strange. The logistics of it are very strange. The fact that Nintendo just had a financial report that was glowing makes this all very strange. So here's the information coming to us from Game Informer. Basically, they reached out to Nintendo and asked what was going on the reasoning for the $69.99 price tag for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We determined the suggested retail price for any Nintendo product on a case-by-case basis. That's a lie. On if this is a trend for Nintendo titles going forward. No, we determined the suggested retail price for any Nintendo product on a case-by-case basis. That is an absolute lie. Every first-party Nintendo title has either been $60 or less. This is unprecedented to be happening in the middle of a console generation. You are changing the price of arguably one of the most anticipated games for the system. Now, you could get into the whole economic side of thing with inflation and this, that, and the other, and, well, Nintendo is just following the trend. I think everyone expected Nintendo to tiptoe into the $70 games in the next console generation, the whatever system comes out after the Switch. As far as what we're getting on the Switch now, this is winding down. This is starting to come to a close, and now you're introducing higher priced games on a game-by-game, case-by-case basis. So now we have to wonder whenever a Nintendo game is announced, what's the price going to be? What's the reasoning behind this? When you look at what PlayStation did with the PlayStation 5, yes, they're the ones that did the first jump to the $70 price point. A lot of people were like, oh, PlayStation, you're bad. But at least it was for a new console generation. You know, it was starting out fresh. It was like, yo, these games are going to be $70 games. And you had some warning. You had some run up to it. Like, it wasn't a surprise thing. I don't think anyone expected Tears of the Kingdom, a sequel to Breath of the Wild that's available on the same system, to be a $10 more game. It doesn't make any sense to me, and it doesn't make sense to any consumers. But there is one train of thought. It's the only thing I can think of, and I've actually talked about this with some other people, and this is the only reasoning I can think of for this game to be $70. And if this is the reason, it is absolute bullshit, and Nintendo should be ashamed of themselves. The only logical thing I can come up with is the fact that this is a very large game. When you think about the Nintendo Switch, game cartridge sizes matter with this system. An 8 GB cartridge is obviously cheaper than a 16 gigabyte cartridge. That's why companies like to maximize the amount of space they could do on a Switch game, because you have these game cartridges. The only thing I could potentially think of would be that Nintendo is releasing this game, Tears of the Kingdom, on a 32 gigabyte cartridge. So in their mind, that's the justification for this, because Nintendo has not done a 32 gig size game up until this point as far as a first party title is concerned. There have been other games that have released on 32 gigabyte cartridges from third party companies, and you know what? They were $60 freaking. Look at The Witcher 3 when that came out. That was a 32 gigabyte cartridge, plus you got a ton of physical stuff with that as well. One of the Dragon Quest games, the Dragon Quest 1 and 2, I don't remember the title. They were the kind of the actiony, more actiony games, like warrior style a bit. That was actually released on the Switch in Japan only on a single cartridge that was 32 gigabytes at the launch of the system. You are the company that is, you know, deciding what physical medium to use. And all of a sudden now, because you have to use the most expensive form of it, you're going to pass that on to the customer? After everything with this system, after all of the system and sales, you've sold 122 million systems. You've sold almost 1 billion units worth of software. Billion units worth of software. You have sold over 30 million of multiple titles on this system. But this is where we're going to penny pinch? This is where we're going to draw the line? There's been no price reductions on a Switch system, but we're increasing the game price? Like, I don't get this. I don't get this. And I don't like it just from all standpoints, because you got these same people on the internet who are bitching and moaning about $70 games on other platforms, but now when it happens to their precious Nintendo, they're silent on the matter. Or, oh, it's okay, it's Zelda. Like, let's be realistic here. I am going to buy this game because it's a tax write-off first and foremost, but secondly, I'm looking forward to playing this game. I actually made a video a couple months ago talking about Zelda and the potential $70 price tag for Nintendo games as a way to sort of test things out. But my mentality was, okay, you do Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on a single cartridge, both HD remasters. You put them on a single cartridge, you try it for $70. No, they decided to go in a completely different route with this new Zelda game being $70. And I understand, you know, game development costs are rising, this, that, and the other. I get it. I get it. And don't talk to me about the old days, because that's a completely different thing. There's actual physical reasons as to why cartridges were more expensive than other games. There was no MSRP. But I just feel like this is a very strange thing to do. Amidst all of your success, you're now, you know, taking arguably one of your most popular franchises and slapping a $70 price tag on it for no really conceivable reason. The only thing I could think of is that you're using a larger cartridge. But if that's the actual case, is that justification for the consumer? Like, oh wow, you might make a little less money, but you're still gonna make hand over fist in money. You've been making hand over fist in money this whole console generation. You've been very successful. Things like this worry me about the future of Nintendo, because it just shows you that anything could change in an instant. Anything can change on a whim. And all of a sudden it's a case-by-case basis. So who the hell, maybe Metroid Prime 4 will be a $70 game. Maybe the next Mario game will be a $70 game. Who's to say? It's all up to interpretation now. I don't know. Something doesn't sit right with me about this, but maybe I'm wrong. You know, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. You know, this is just my thought process of it. I'm still going to buy the game. I have to. I've been buying $70 games, but I'm definitely a bit more cautious when it comes to my $70 games. And I really sort of, you know, look at them a little bit harder, because, you know, you're paying a premium price for these things. And if a game doesn't feel like that $70 value, then, you know, is it really worth it? Should you wait for a sale? Will people feel betrayed by this? Am I going to punch my microphone and potentially make weird sounds? Who's to say? You know, who's to say? But like I said, let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you missed all my Nintendo Direct hype and hoopla from yesterday, make sure you guys go check that out. Definitely very great event. I definitely enjoyed that event, but wasn't expecting the Zelda price, man. $70. Whew. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.